All right, click the link to check out the subscribe star, the various other platforms. So Alan Moore, useful idiot, useful puppet for the puppet masters. Everything I learned about fashion, I'll say for the Google algorithm, I learned from Hollywood. Yeah, everything I learned about the South, I learned from 1980s Hollywood movies. Do you think it was an accurate portrayal of the South from the coastal elite Hollywood types that have never actually entered the South? Do you think that was a fair and accurate representation of the South from those 80s movies? I know who the audience is, or of a certain age, where they're familiar with that portrayal of the South. Do you think you learned an accurate representation of the South? Oh, probably not. Oh, so, you can't help but notice that the media lies now, right? Yeah, media lies now. You think they lied yesterday? Definitely. Okay. Anyway, weird that they don't cover the atrocities of Bolshevism with the same energy that they cover fashion. Fashion or communism is not good or bad. Their execution might be, but the kind of the concepts behind them are neutral concepts. How humans carry them out, fair enough, but that kind of makes my point, because you look at the examples of how humans carry out left-wing authoritarianism, and it results in well-fertilized fields on a huge scale. And fashion doesn't come close. So why does the mainstream media only represent one side of an issue, where it's, oh, there's only this one thing is bad? It's like, no, I mean, that's objectively not true. And I mean, I say this as someone who's read the books, and if you're listening to this channel, I know you've read the books also. It's like we don't have our worldview from Hollywood. That's why our worldview is different than people who have this stimulus response Hollywood worldview, because books are different than Hollywood, radically. In fact, in most cases, they're 180 degrees difference. They're completely divergent paths. So communism seems to be overlooked in Hollywood, and they have programmed people to the point of stimulus response, where you get stimulus and it goes right to response. It means there's no cognition in the center of that. There's no conscious thought of, oh, wait a minute, I'm going to have to work this out for myself. They don't want you working things out for yourself or doing your own research. If you hear fashion and your immediate response is based on Hollywood programming and not on unbiased books, then you're just parroting what they programmed you to parrot. And unfortunately, universities and schools parrot information also, because you can simply read the source material yourself, and it immediately presents a different and more accurate perspective on the history of any topic. Yes, teachers are incredibly biased. Unfortunately, they're very far to the left biased. There are no... You're not going to be hired in any university if you're on the right. There's no equally right people in any university. And that's been obvious for a very long time. Especially if you look at the Ivy Leagues, which is very problematic, because the people who are coming out of the Ivy Leagues have a disproportionate influence on American discourse. So let's talk about banned books. The liberal, I saw this Twitter thing where they were at a Barnes and Nobles, and they had a dozen banned books that they said were banned. It's like, Johnny Has Two Dads or something, or I guess now it'd be Jamal and Kareem, whatever. So they have this list of a dozen. They got these books for sale on, some brick and mortar store, of the banned books that are for sale on Amazon or in Barnes and Noble. Those aren't banned. They might be banned from a school for a certain age range, but they're still sold in stores and on Amazon. The lack of self-awareness is insane, to think that their BLT books that are sold on the biggest platforms on earth, they think that their stuff is cutting edge, speaking truth to power, when it's sold on Amazon around, well, I was going to say around the world, but it's not sold in certain countries. And they have no problem with that either, because they're hypocrites. These people are delusional if they think that their books are banned. And, you ask them, like, so, banned books, you got a problem with that? So do you guys support free speech? And, they start saying, oh, of course. And then they start pulling back and go, oh, I guess, well, not for hate speech. Oh, what's hate speech? And you kind of, and who gets to determine it? Well, the people determine it. Okay, then you don't need to censor anything. People will just buy and read the literature they wish to read and consume the ideas they wish to consume. You don't need a, I mean, it's like people go back to beyond the Big Bang and they point to a higher power. It's like, well, you're just putting off the question of saying you just don't know. It's kind of a similar thing with censorship. It's like, why would you delegate your power and authority to consume ideas to someone else? Why would you give someone else that kind of power? Because ultimately it comes back to them believing that someone else knows better than what ideas they may consume. Now for kids in government schools, under 18, yeah, the school boards and the parents should be deciding what is going into that schools. Fair enough. But those books aren't banned. They're sold on Amazon, you hypocrites. So you ask them, oh, so you support free speech. All books should be sold everywhere? All books should be in the school library? If you want to have, Jamal and Kareem have got, 3 dads, which is now you can get married with threesomes, I think, which is weird because they didn't have the same energy for the Mormons. But I guess times are different now, and some animals are more equal than all other animals. So all books should be in the government school libraries, right? All books. I can't even name them, but you know the ones I'm talking about. The ones that aren't sold on Amazon or in Barnes and Nobles. Should those be in the government schools also? Oh, no, because those are hate speech. Well, again, who determines hate speech? We do. Oh, okay. But people should be free to buy those books, right? To consume any ideas they want to consume. I mean, what if they're right? But they can't be. Well, you just admitting that you're an authoritarian. Well, anyway, Alan Moore, useful puppet idiot. He makes this other point I want to point out. Is he's talking about this book, or they're referencing this book, Fashion in Older Days, where you're idealizing the past. This is gaslighting. It's when they're lying to your face something you objectively know to be true. You know this because you're in your 40s or on up, at least if you're listening to this channel, and you've read books, and you've lived the past, and you also watch historical documents of the past and movies of the past, and I mean just street scenes of the past. That stuff is still on YouTube. I don't know how much longer it's going to be on YouTube, and it shows a better past. To say it wasn't better is gaslighting. They're lying to your face. You were there. I was there. Yes, it was better. There's objective evidence to look at, like housing costs per percentage of income, quality of life. Yes, it was better. And I make more frank videos on that topic on Bit Chute and Odyssey and Subscribestar and Gap TV, maybe even Locals. That yes, to harp too much on how better the past was is a very dangerous topic for mainstream YouTube type stuff. So you get a very unbalanced narrative. You see that with Kanye, or with the Covington Catholic kids, or anyone with a MAGA hat, or you see a certain perspective being pushed because mainstream media, mainstream social media have one narrative to push. I don't know if Elon Musk is going to buy Twitter or not. I don't know if that's supposed to go through today or in a couple days. That's going to change a lot of things, which is great. But it also, like, why do you see the rise of make it sound ominous, of Gab, Telegram, Odyssey, Bit Chute, Shing. Shing is amazing. Shing.tv. It's a live streaming platform. Why do you see the rise of these platforms? Because there's a narrative that's not allowed on mainstream social media. Oh, who are these people? Well, they own the platforms. Just build your own platform. Oh, okay. Oh, well, we're not going to allow you on our banking system. Just build your own credit unions or financial institutions. Okay. Oh, they've got to find a way to, censor free speech. It's like, why don't you just discuss things instead of trying to censor things? So why exactly do you think fashion is bad? And why don't you have the same energy for communism or Bolshevism? Why is every mainstream media article, movie and TV show, if you're of my age, everything you come across is one little period of history. Like, kind of ignore Russia, China, the atrocities in the Ukraine, or even the Japanese atrocities, the Bolshevik atrocities, kind of across Europe and Russia, and then the Japanese atrocities throughout South Korea, or Korea in total, I suppose, because it was just all Korea, and China and Russia too. It's like you kind of ignore that, but you have all this energy for this other group. And the Bolsheviks, like what the Holodomor, I think, in Ukraine, and what they did throughout Russia, China, Southeast Asia, Central America, Haiti, Cuba, all that just gets swept under the rug. So you can find a couple of books on it, which is, like, in my memory, like I don't have this. When I grew up, the Empire, Star Wars, right? It was like people now look at that and they go, "Oh, it was meant to be the this one group from 70 years ago." We didn't see it at the time the movie came out. It was a little before my time, 77. But later, it's like at that time period, the horrors were communism, were Russia, China, the Iron Curtain and the Bamboo Curtain. But the power of stimulus response by controlling a narrative to get people to just respond when presented with stimulus and bypass all cognition is terrifying. Is absolutely terrifying. It's completely controlled by the left, where you get Antifa, and BLM burning down buildings and deleting people because they think they're fighting the fashion. And you go, where are they? Oh my God, where are they? Are they under your bed? Where are they? In the streets? They burn down buildings. BLM literally burning down black-owned buildings with, unfortunately, black owners inside them, deleting them from this mortal coil. 50 people so far they've deleted. Mostly people who look remarkably like them. Were they the fashionable ones? The mom and her daughter, or the Mexican woman who said all lives matter, and they deleted her for that? Were they wearing Hugo Boss? We're fighting the fashion. Is it possible that you've been manipulated and you're not really thinking this through? Who funds you guys? Where's that money come from? You ever look into that? Who benefits? If I could remember the Greek or Latin, I would say it, but I don't. And follow the money. Who benefits and follow the money? Who's funding you guys? Where'd that money go? Where'd that BLM money go? $2 billion plus. Soros, $250 million. Bank of America, I think was $1 billion. Where'd that money go? It's like over $2 billion. Did you guys build a university, a little school with that $2 billion? Are you telling me that money just disappeared? Well, I mean, we know where some of it went, but like the media doesn't have a question about where that money went, or the district attorney's office doesn't have a question about that. It just disappeared. I mean, people bought homes, but obviously they ripped it off. Or in case of the Bank of America, they just paid their family members, trustee fees to oversee the dissemination of funds. And you look like, but the funds never got disseminated. They just went back into the employees' pockets. Yeah, that's right. So, like, DA going to look at that? District attorneys, federal? I don't know what you call the federal prosecutors. Are they going to look at, investigate Security and Exchange Commissions? Anyone going to investigate any of this? Are you saying like this is clown world where like you can get away with a $2 billion theft? Back in the day, remember Enron? They went back. That was 20 years ago. It's like, how come you had the energy for Enron? But because it's not politically correct to go after BLM. Yeah, but it's morally correct. It's also legally correct. Hey, how are politicians worth tens of millions of dollars? Anyone want to look into that? Anyone want to look into any of this stuff? No, I guess not. I guess no. The solution. It's so important to vote Republican this year. It's so important to vote a donkey or elephant. No, it's not. No, it's not. Voting left and right got us the same. It's the same wings, the same bird. And it's like, honestly, the best thing the far left and the far right could do would be to sit down and talk to each other and say, okay, wait a minute, maybe we're all being manipulated by people. Anyway, I'll leave it at that. And I will see you guys on Subscribestar. Thanks for the recent, I'll say Irish support, and see you guys next episode.